It's one thing to suspect your mail is missing. It's another to watch the person enforcing the rules be the one breaking them, right before dawn. This wasn't a simple theft. It was a breach of trust that escalated into a federal case. Before we begin, drop your country in the comments below. It all began at 5:45 a.m. For weeks, I'd experienced peculiar gaps in my deliveries, overdue bills, a missing tax document, a personal card that never arrived. Initially, I blamed the Postal Service, but the pattern was too specific, too deliberate. A suspicion took root. Someone was intentionally interfering with my mailbox. So, one morning, I made a pot of coffee and took up a post by the window. I waited. Sure enough, as the first light crept over the rooftops, a figure moved down my drive. I expected a random thief. I did not expect to see Margaret, the president of our homeowners association. A silk robe the color of lilacs, slippers shuffling on the pavement. She strode directly to my mailbox as if it were hers, opened it, and sifted through the contents with an ease that suggested routine. I nearly choked on my coffee. Margaret, the woman who lectured about community standards and issued violation notices like they were party invitations, was pilfering my correspondence. The urge to confront her was overwhelming, but I stayed silent. If she was this brazen once, she'd do it again. And if she targeted me, how many others had she already victimized? The following day, I casually mentioned the missing items during an HOA meeting. Margaret smiled, a gesture that didn't reach her eyes, making her silver earrings sway. The Postal Service is notoriously inconsistent these days, she chuckled, waving a dismissive hand in front of everyone. But our tone wasn't mocking the mail carrier. It was mocking me. That's when I understood this was beyond a petty dispute. Tampering with mail is a federal offense. If Margaret believed her HOA title placed her above the law, she was in for a profound education. Direct confrontation would lead nowhere. I needed irrefutable evidence, and I needed the power of a federal agency. I contacted the United States Postal Inspection Service. Many don't know they exist, but they are the oldest federal law enforcement body, and they treat mail crime with absolute seriousness. The inspector who took my call, Agent Reed, didn't dismiss it. He listened intently, took a detailed statement, and then said, "Sir, if your account is accurate, this constitutes a violation of Title 18. That carries a potential 5-year prison term. Are you willing to assist with a controlled delivery?" I agreed without a second thought. The plan was elegant. They prepared a piece of bait mail, an ordinary-looking envelope containing a miniature GPS tracker. The moment it left my mailbox, they would know. The next morning, I placed the decoy letter inside. Then I waited. My nerves were electric. Across the street, an unmarked den with tinted windows sat silently. Agents inside, watching. Right on cue, just after sunrise, the lilac robe reappeared. She walked with purpose, head high, as if on a morning constitutional. Except her destination was my mailbox. Without a glance, she opened it, slid the decoy envelope into her pocket, and strolled away as though she'd simply collected the paper. Not 30 seconds later, Agent Reed's radio crackled to life. Tracker's actor, subject moving east. I held my breath as the sedan pulled away, maintaining a discreet distance. Margaret was utterly unaware. She thought herself untouchable in her little domain. But this time, she hadn't just stolen from a neighbor. She had stolen government property. And that changed everything. By the time she reached her home, inspectors had already coordinated with local police. The GPS signal confirmed she'd entered her house with the envelope. Reed glanced at me. Once he opens it, that's federal evidence in her possession. Watch. We didn't wait long. The signal indicated that envelope had been breached. That was the trigger.
I followed at a distance as the inspector's vehicles rolled up Margaret's driveway, emergency lights flashing. She stepped onto her porch, the envelope still clutched in her hand. The smug assurance on her face lasted only a heartbeat. Reed approached, badge displayed. "Ma'am, you are under arrest for theft of U.S. mail, a violation of federal code. Place your hands where I can see them." Margaret's eyes widened. "This is an error! I'm the HOA president! I have authority here!" "Authority does not extend to committing felonies," Reed stated flatly. "Turn around." Neighbors began to emerge. Phones were raised. The woman who once held the cul-de-sac in her grip was being handcuffed on her own porch in the clear morning light. I'll never forget her expression as her rights were read. It wasn't shame. It was sheer, uncomprehending disbelief. For years, she had manipulated rules and bullied residents. But this wasn't an HOA issue. This was federal jurisdiction. Police escorted her away. Reed assured me the charges would hold, and they did. Within weeks, Margaret was indicted on multiple counts of mail theft. The HOA board, scrambling to save face, voted unanimously to remove her. The woman who once paraded in her robe as a symbol of control became an HOA parable. People whispered, some smirked, but the fear she once cultivated was gone. For me, the stolen letters became irrelevant. What mattered was the arrival of tangible justice. When you violate a mailbox, you aren't just breaking a neighbor's trust. You're challenging the full weight of federal law. If you value seeing overreach meet its match, hit like and follow Winds of Thought for more stories where the system works. Sometimes the quietest evidence speaks the loudest in court.